Sairam, we will just quickly summarize what we discussed last time.
Can you put on that slide?
Yes.
Okay. From here, yeah, we started last year. Okay, Sairam, I think Kalyani will summarize what we learned last week, and then we can go ahead. If there are any questions in the same paragraph, we can discuss it.
Auntie,
okay, Kalyani.
Sairam Auntie, we started discussing line by line, right?
Line by yes.
So we stop in the middle.
Yeah, we have to continue. I remember.
Yeah. So yeah,
I remember it. We will go one by line. Every line will go. Okay.
Thank you, Sairam.
So last time we covered the example that Swami gave, that when we know that this small body is mine, we get a certain amount of joy. So when we think that two bodies are mine, then that joy would increase. And in the same way, when the count of bodies increases, then the experience of bliss continues to increase more and more. And then when we finally attain the jnana that the entire universe is one, then we will get the paripurna tattva, the fullness of bliss. And to attain this infinite individuality, then the individual that's imprisoned in the small I has to die.
Yeah.
And then we also discussed that the ego, the aham bhavam, when it merges with the jivi, then death will cease. When sukha or joy merges in the jivi, then sorrow will cease. And when jnana merges in the jivi, all mistakes and errors will cease.
Yeah, I think we should. We will go further a little bit in detail what Kalyani has already explained. The first few sentences where, the one little body, when you think that you are separate from the others, you, of course, mine and myself and mine, all these things, when they come, we are very happy about our own self. But if we can expand it to further, that others' happiness also is my happiness. And if I hurt anyone, I am hurting myself. That kind of feeling, when it comes, that means you are expanding your consciousness, your awareness to the whole universe. And the same consciousness or the same divinity which is in you exists in everyone. That is what Swami wants to understand, wants us to understand this, that we have to merge with the world consciousness. The world is one body. This multi-consciousness is to get this feeling that we are same. That same divinity which exists in us and in exists others is the same. When we reach that stage, then we attain that fullness. That's the few first sentences. Okay. And the next one was little bit confused. So when the ego self identifies us with the jivi or atma, death will cease. There we had some problem. I think what Swami means here is it. No, we are all egocentric, always thinking about ourselves, our own people, our family, our my. Always we think about it. If we have to understand that we are nothing but the same, that consciousness, the supreme consciousness, we are the same Atma. The same Atma is part of that supreme consciousness. When we understand that, that egocentric wall which we have built, it's imprisoning us. It is constricting our thinking. So what we have to do is to first of all cut across that karagraham. He says it's a prison. That prison where we are imprisoned ourselves in our own egocentric ideas, that we have to cut across and then merge with that Supreme Atman. Then only we get that feeling that we are one. And the second, 1 minute. The second thing, when the ego self identifies itself with the river, with the Jivi or Atma, death will cease. That's the first sentence which we just now discussed. And now the second one is when the ego self identifies itself and merges with the bliss of the one, sorrow will cease. So here, the ego self has to think about the bliss of that supreme self, that's Satchit Ananda. That Ananda, when you merge your own Ananda with that Ananda, you get that feeling that you are one with that supreme self. So then there will be no sorrow at all, because all things are only Ananda only. So happiness. That then the sorrow will not come. Then the third sentence, when it merges with the Gnana or higher wisdom, error will cease. When we are identifying ourselves with the Atman, we will never commit any wrong things. That is, we are aware. We are aware that we are nothing but not this body or mind. We are one with that supreme self. So then there will not be any error. That is how we stopped there. Aruna, is it okay?
Yes, Sandy. The last one, the jnana mean Atma jnana. Then only, then when you get that higher wisdom, am I right? That's the one is the higher wisdom.
Yeah,
When
you are not
see as a yes. When you see you are Atma, that higher wisdom, if you identify yourself, then there won't be any errors.
Yeah, you're not identifying with the body.
No body, mind, or anything.
Yeah, nothing. You are identifying with that supreme self.
Supreme. Your Atma with the Paramatma, then you will be. There's no error.
That's a higher wisdom. Then you cannot afford to do any kind of error.
Yes.
So that's the last. These three sentences were a little bit confused, and I think we have clarified it now. So far, so good. So then
Thank you, Auntie.
Then material, I think material individualness is born out of illusion. That's where Bhautika Vyaktitvamu Kevala Bhranti Janita Bhavam. To think that we are separate individuals is a delusion. It is born out of our delusion only that we are individual, and then we have our own identity and this and that. This kind of individualness is born only out of delusion. That's what Swami is saying. And then the body, which we talk about, this physical body, it's only an atom, small, even not even a small drop in the expansive ocean. It is only a small drop, and that drop also undergoes so many changes. Ever evolving. It is that atom. I mean, our body goes on changing every moment, every moment of our life. So this you cannot take it as a permanent thing. Body is not at all a permanent thing. It is only we are here for some time. And the Swami speaks about second entity. Second entity is me in other form. That is the Atman which is present in you. The first entity is body. And then there is the Atma inside us. That Atma is the second form. And when we ourselves, that ego of ours merges with that self in me, then dissolution disappears. That's what is written here. So that Atman, Pratyek Atman, what we call, or the Chaitanya which we have in our body, that Chaitanya should merge with the Supreme Self. Then, there will not be any delusion. That through the upsurge of its opposite knowledge, that's where I just thought anybody can, if anyone has got an idea what this sentence says, please go ahead. What is this upsurge of opposite knowledge? Kalyani, can you think of anything? Or anybody?
Auntie, in Telugu, for the opposite knowledge, what is that? What is the
He
thing?
has not said that like that. Swami says, రెండవ వస్తువైన ప్రతిరూప జీవాత్మతో దీనికి ఐక్యము కలుగట్టే. That is merging with the Supreme Self. ప్రతిపాదించుటే భౌతిక శాస్త్ర సమ్మతమని దీని నిగూఢ భావము. Last time also we said actually it is a hidden secret which Westerners, which scientists will not agree. Scientists will not say that there is supreme consciousness and you are that Atma, you are going to merge with that. They don't say that. That is the opposite knowledge. That's what I understand. If others have idea, they can continue. Kalyani, what do you see? This upsurge of its opposite knowledge. We all believe that our ego merges with the Supreme. But Westerners, the scientists say, there is no super consciousness or anything like that. Your body, you have got a mind, you have got an intellect, you have got some kind of activity which goes on in your brain, and that makes you think, to speak, and to express your emotions. That's what they say. But we have our own idea, our Bharatiyas, we have our idea that there is supreme, there's a part of that awareness in us, which makes us think, which makes us speak, which makes us do things, do actions. So that is the opposite view of our Westerners. I feel that's the way. Is it okay with the explanation?
Yes, Auntie, I think so. And if anyone has any questions, maybe.
Kalyani, I can't see anybody's hand raising. You have to tell me.
I will let you know.
My screen is very small, so I can't see.
Okay, I will let you know, Auntie.
Okay. And
Sairam, Auntie.
Sairam.
I got up to the point, the body which creates impression, the atom part, and but we are part of the ocean, boundless ocean. The second entity in me is the other form, that is the referring to our Atma, which the body itself. That is good. When the ego of mind merges with the self in me, then the delusion disappears. That's also clear. Thereafter, that's what you are asking too, right?
Yeah.
Through the upsurge of the opposite knowledge.
Yeah. What is the
Which is the opposite knowledge we are referring here?
Swami is referring to the materialist in Hindi, in Telugu. Swami says, Bhautika Shastra Sammatamani Dini Niguda Bhavamo. That's what she says. So materialists believe that there is only this body, this mind, this intellect. We are a part of this, are the constituents of our body. They never think that there is a super consciousness and this our ego should merge with that. Only then we will be happy. All these knowledge, they don't agree. They don't have any idea about the supreme consciousness. Still, they are finding it. Now that hard problem of consciousness, that's the subject which is discussed very, very much in the Western universities, and where they're trying to figure out what is this consciousness. But we have an idea. We think that our consciousness, which is a part of that supreme consciousness, is working in us. Unless that consciousness is not there, nothing can work out. That's what we believe.
Okay.
So they're materialists. They are called materialists. They think only of the matter. And they don't agree with this idea that our ego should merge with that supreme consciousness. That is our goal of life. That's what we all think. They don't believe in it. I think that's opposite knowledge is that one.
Yeah, and the following two sentences also, if we take it through only, then I think we'll have the full understanding. Where it says, when man thought the matures in process of time, undoubtedly all school thought have to reach this conclusion. Which conclusion?
This conclusion that we are not body, mind, we are that supreme, we are the part of that awareness, and that awareness should merge with the supreme consciousness.
That comes to the world consciousness as
But
starters.
yeah, that's it. So this is a, and this Swami here in Telugu says, Kala paripakamuna sarva shastramulu ee nishchitarthamunake vachuta tatyamu. All schools of thought, they have to come to this conclusion. So far, they are not believing in this, but they have to come to this conclusion that there exists a supreme consciousness and we are all part of it and we are going to merge with that.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Okay.
I think Narmat also has something to add, maybe.
Who?
No, Saram. No, I was just reading this over and over again. To me, I think when it says awakening of the opposite knowledge, is that awakening that materialistic stuff is not that awakening of that supremacy. Everything is oneness. That is the knowledge. Because all this while we were thinking there's material world and supreme conscious, all that, right? But when the soul recognizes the Atma, so that is the opposite knowledge, because we realize that everything is one, and that is that upsurge of knowledge. That's what I thought.
We
I
are
could be wrong.
Narmada.
Yeah.
We are not thinking on those lines. We are not. We right from beginning, we know that there is supreme consciousness and we are part of it, and we
Right.
have to merge with that. That is our concept right from the beginning. But
Yes.
opposite knowledge is opposite of what we are thinking, is that they think that this body is the it's enough. Only they think about the body material. Materialist means what? They believe in matter.
Matter. Okay.
They
Yes.
believe in matter. This is the body and this is the mind. This is the intellect, and I am this. And nothing more than that. There is a brain which is working. The brain works, some chemicals affect, and then the brain works and we do things. That's what they believe. Sai Ram, Aruna?
No, sorry. Anandi was raised before me.
Anandi?
Sai Ram,
Anandi.
I also, I have had a little doubt about this opposite knowledge, but after the explanation of Maniandi and the very last sentence in here, it affirms affirms me the correct explanation. Now, when man's thoughts matures in the process of time, undoubtedly all schools of thought have to reach this conclusion.
Yes.
Maybe the Swami is telling that even though maybe many school of thoughts may have in the different way of, and Mani Aunty nicely explained that maybe scientists may oppose unity, this the body, mind, the intellect, maybe the superconscious Atma and those things, maybe these scientists may oppose those concepts. But when man's thought matures, that means that the Swami is telling that if when we have the matureness in the maybe in the wisdom or jnanam, at that stage, undoubtedly the all will come to this conclusion that the Atma concept or all those the theory or the concept Swami explained here, they will accept. That's what he concluded, and now I am very, very clear. Initially, I agree with. I also have had a little doubt about what is this opposite knowledge. This opposite knowledge is the maybe spiritual jnana or the wisdom or something else. Swami is referring. Now I am very, very clear.
No. Yeah, and that's what I have understood.
Yeah.
If anybody has got some other idea about this thing, please come forward and explain it. Sai Satish has come? Not as.
Yes, Aunty. I'm
Sai Satish?
Sai Ram, Aunty.
Sai Ram. So,
Aunty, sorry, I joined in late. For the Telugu part, Aunty, what is the exact line? Sorry if I'm asking you to read again.
No problem. I can read it for you. See, ni rendava vastuvaina pratirupa jivatmato దీనికి ఐక్యము కలుగొట్టే. What is దీనికి ఐక్యము కలుగొట్టే? That jiva, that's Atma in us should merge with the supreme. Rendava vastuvaina pratirupa jivatma. What is that second? That means in you, there is a second entity. What is that second entity? It is our Atma. It's our Atma.
Right.
Body is the first one. The second entity is our Atma, which is inside us, divinity, which is inside. And Swami says, Diniki aikyamu kalugate. That means it merges with the Supreme Self. Pratipadinchute bhautika shastra sammatamani tini niguda bhavamu. That line was a little confusing last time also. After reading it, it's the last sentence what Swami is saying. When man's thought matures in the process of time, undoubtedly all schools of thought have to reach this conclusion. When he says like that, that means the opposite knowledge what others have, what the materialists have. Bhautika Shastra Sammatamani. Bhautika Shastra means materialist, physical sciences, Bhautika Shastra is physical sciences. Those physical sciences believe that only body, mind, and intellect are there. Our constituents, the body's constituents are these. They never have the idea that supreme consciousness is there and we are part of it, that Atma is, divinity is in us. I don't think they believe in it. Bhautika Shastra. Do you agree with it?
Yes, Auntie. So, like you mentioned, we have Atma and Anatma. So, in the context of once we know that, because right now, I think the materialists believe in what has a name and a form. What is seen through the cognition of the five senses is what is perceived as real. And what is not cognized by the five senses is thought of as unreal. But the school of thought that Bharatiya culture brings in is what is beyond the perception of the senses is actually real, which is the Atman. And so when that knowledge of the self is cognized, then everything else merges into that, because the material science is only a small subset of the superset of the Atman. So it will just merge into that. So the small self merges into the Atman. And I think that is where all school of thought, which are earlier also Swami has mentioned, that they may be like small lakes or ponds or puddles, but all of them will merge into the ocean. And that is where the ocean, I think, is the school of thought presented by Bharatiya culture is the ocean. And so every other school of thought will merge into that. And as especially since the Bharatiya culture is established in the what is everlasting or permanent, which is the Atman. So I think in that context, the upsurge of its opposite knowledge, when what is known as the true self is established, then everything else merges into that.
That's so. I think it's clear to everybody, hopefully.
Sairam Auntie, Aruna Auntie has her hand up.
Oh, Sairam, I was thinking the final line is referring to the first we have started, where we says when we come as a world consciousness become part, once you are aware the whole world is one, and that is the same Atma everywhere. That point everyone has to reach, kind of. Only I am reading it as the last line, because where we have started to understand that part only in this paragraph, say one body, and when your happiness increase with the two bodies, then the whole world, then you will see the big Atma. That is the conclusion we have to reach. Any school of thought has to reach that place.
All schools of thought have to.
Yes.
That's what.
That's what I was trying to tell.
Mainly what Swami is saying is you are not that small Atma.
Yes, not small I.
You are that world conscious. You are part of that whole world consciousness. That's what is the whole.
Yes. So expand your views, like you with the two bodies, then the whole thing.
Expand yourself to that.
Then see as one. That is I think the school of thoughts have reached to that conclusion. That's why
school of thought Swami has mentioned it as Shastrulu, both Kala Parikpakumana, Sarva Shastramulu, all the schools of thought, they have to come to this conclusion. That's what he is saying. Okay, there we stopped. And can we go to the next slide?
I just wanted to ask one thing. The pratipadinchute, what does that word mean?
Proving. Pratipadinchuta. But here it has not come here. The whole thing, in English it is said, through the upsurge of its opposite knowledge, he said, that's it.
Okay.
Here Swami is saying, Pratipadinchute Bhautika Shastra Sammatamani. Bhautika Shastras also have agreed that, but they don't express it. Dini Niguda Bhavam. They have kept it as they're not expressing it outside. Yeah. Though they're still experimenting it. What is this consciousness? How is it possible? That's hardcore of consciousness studies are going on. Still they are learning. But whereas our Bharatiya culture also has taught us that there is one supreme consciousness, Paramatma is there, and we have to reach that Paramatma. That's what our Bharatiya culture has taught us. Can we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
You can read, one of you.
Narmata, you can.
Yeah, sure. A tree's value is estimated with reference to its fruits. To take idol worship, for example, moralists and metaphysicians, philosophers, adherents of the path of devotion, and the foremost among the virtues in all parts of the world have all agreed that idol worship is highly beneficial, so long as attachment persists to the material body and possessions. Worship of a material symbol is necessary. It is but a means, but many decry it as a superstition. This is not correct. It is not the right approach. Such an attitude is just an outburst of foolishness.
Okay, I will read the Telugu. Okay. Pandlanu patti chettu yokka gunamu nirnayinpavalannu. Satish, can you do that, or can I just?
Yeah, I can do it, Auntie. So looking at the quality of the fruits, the value of the tree can be determined.
Yeah. Now, the next sentence. Niti endunu paramarthikandunu lokamuna అసమానులయ్యుండు గుణశీలురు కూడాను విగ్రహారాధన ఉత్తమని భావించిరి.
I may need a split, Auntie.
Yeah. నీతి ఎందును పారమార్థికత ఎందును. Means
moralists and metaphysicians only. Yeah.
Paramarthika here is spiritualists. Why do you say, or philosophers we can say.
Okay.
Philosophers we can say. Paramarthika ఎందును లోకమున అసమానులయ్యుండు గుణశీలురు.
In this world, people filled with good qualities, virtues. Yeah.
Virtuous people. Yeah. గుణశీలురు కూడాను విగ్రహారాధన ఉత్తమమని భావించిరి.
The worship of idols is extolled by them.
Yeah. భౌతిక దేహ భ్రాంతి ఉండినంత వరకు,
so long as the body attachment exists,
భౌతిక ఆరాధన అవసరము.
The worship of the external as the idol is necessary.
విగ్రహారాధన సాధనము.
It is a sadhana to worship the idol.
Idol worship is a sadhana.
Idol worship is a sadhana. Okay.
Means sadhana. ఇట్టివి మూఢ విశ్వాసములని.
This is thought of as superstitious.
అనేక మంది భావించుచున్నారు.
Many people are of that thinking.
అది సరికాదు.
That is not at all correct.
Yeah. That's all she has. I think it's outburst of మూఢ విశ్వాసం అని చెప్పట మూర్ఖావేశము. That's all. Swami stops here. Any questions about this paragraph? we can take.
Aruna auntie.
Aruna aunty.
Sana, see, this is the part I was thinking about it. So long as the attachment persists of the material body and possession, worship of material symbol is necessary. Thereafter, you don't need, but a name and form at the end, when we merges with that, name and form also comes as one. That's the meaning of it. Am I right? First time, when you have attachment and desires in the worldly thing, then that's what is meant by this sentence.
Yeah.
Then you need the idol worship.
Yeah.
Am I right?
So long as the body consciousness exists.
Yes, body consciousness.
Body
You can
consciousness
put it
exists.
that, yeah.
You need a symbol. You need a symbol to concentrate upon. Because Nirakara, Brahman, it's very difficult for us to meditate upon. All of us, we are still in that body consciousness. We also expect that the idol worship is the best way, and it is the means to achieve at least this next step, that's the meditation level. And even it is recommended by philosophers, moralists, and they all say that it is it's a first step in that path of devotion.
Okay.
You have to take
Develop
that.
your devotion. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Sister Shivani.
Just a question.
Yes, I
The Saidam auntie. The first line, a tree's value is estimated with reference to its fruits. In what context?
What?
Yeah, what it's referring to. Maybe I'm not able to make that connection.
You
The
mean
first line, yeah, what does it mean? A tree's value is estimated with reference to its fruit.
The tree's value is estimated with reference to its fruits. What I understand, I think the fruit, the type of fruit, or when you look at it, it is a full-grown fruit, full of juice, everything. It's a best quality fruit. Then you can estimate the value of the tree from which it is coming. That's the main sentence. But what does it refer to? I also was a little bit hesitant.
Sister Narmata has her hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of referring to the idol worship, right? The tree's values by its fruit. So the idol worship, what is producing it? Because as it goes on to explain, right?
Yeah.
It's the benefits of that idol worship. I think that's what they're referring to.
I think so, because the next paragraph says about idol worship. So I'm speaking about that. And I also feel that the same way.
The benefits of the idol worship.
If there is anything else, meaning Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure, Auntie. So exactly what Sister Narmata had mentioned and you had mentioned, Auntie. So it is, if we, based on the quality of the fruit, we will say how good a tree is. Likewise, using idol worship, we know how many saints, sages, and devotees have experienced the absolute. The very same idol has conferred to them the joy and sweetness of the relationship with the divine. And since that has been experienced through an idol, so the quality of idol worship is also very high. It should not be belittled and laughed at. That is what Swami is putting forth in that discussion. Because we know how many devotees have connected. If you take people like Mirabai or any of, right from her childhood days, she was having that idol of Krishna, which became her friend all through her journey. So we know the extent to which idol worship has conferred that connection with the absolute. And what was discussed earlier also, so long as I have a name and a form, for me to relate to somebody having a name and a form is more easier, rather than, because if I tell my little one that there is air here in this room, he will say, where? I can't see it. Right? But if I take a balloon and I tell that there is air inside the balloon, he will believe it. So likewise, if I take an idol and saying that name and form is there and inside that idol is that absolute, we will have more tendency to appreciate, have faith and believe it, rather than show the empty space and say, God is here, Nirakara, now pray to him. Right? So that is where I think the difference comes in the whole thing. Saira.
Yeah, I think we can add to the list of devotees like Tyagaraja. That idol of Rama was very very real to him. He used to make that idol sleep and then wake him up in the morning, and then, just like another some personification, it was there for him. And we can take the example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who loved Kali. Kali was so real to him that he would talk to her, he would get answers from her. So that we have several examples like that. So where, idol worship has been really extolled, and it is one of the ways how we can go further in our seek spiritual path. Sai Ram, I think Sister Shivani, are you?
Yes, Auntie, it makes sense now to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was also thinking, why Swami is saying suddenly fruit and then tree. We have to connect it with slowly.
And you know what? I am so happy that how this came idol worship, because that was my the struggle, how to get out of it. But I'm so happy that Bhagawan is mentioning, no, it's fine. You don't need to, because that's a bigger struggle, how I can.
But Sister Shivani, we are not going to stop with that idol worship only. You have to see beyond it. When we say that, just now Sai Satish said, just like a air in the balloon, in the room, Bhagavan is there. And in the idol itself, there is Bhagavan. That idea should go a little further, and then goes beyond that. It's only not constricted to idol only. He is everywhere. That concept should come to us later on as we go the idols.
But as you meditate, it's hard to not to think of him, right? So,
yeah, we need
yes, that helps me to concentrate. I don't know meditation, but helps me to concentrate.
Yes.
But Auntie, as you mentioned before, the idol worship is needed until we have the body attachment and the things only. Once you come out of it, the idol worship will go to a different level, different way of looking at it. And we just use the name sometime, right? Not the rupa, kind of. I'm thinking of that. Okay, thank you, Simon.
The day when we just forget about this body, I am not this body. I am that Atma. The day when we realize that, then, all this idol worship need not be, you will go beyond that, because you think that you are that Atman, and that you are that awareness, and that you are that part of this consciousness. So we can further expand ourselves. Okay, Sai Ram.
Just regarding what Sister Shivani said, I think my understanding is that as long as we have our mind, we can definitely use the form and the name of God to concentrate. Like, I don't think we have to try and purposely not concentrate on the form. That's my understanding. So if anyone can let me know if that's correct. Like, I think as long as our mind is there, we can always continue to use the form and the name.
Yeah,
that does make sense. I think it's my inner struggle, because when you read about Swami's formless, and in the Gita Vahini even reading, so I think that's where my internal struggle, hey, how can I train myself where my mind is not looking for any picture of Swami or any kind of form of him, and then still I have so much love and devotion and faith. So I guess it's my internal struggle. But as you're saying, as far as our mind is there, we need that idol until we move away from this, and I think it will just disappear. It will dissolve by itself then.
Until then,
yeah. You're right, yeah.
Brother Sai Satish has his hand.
Sai Satish?
Yes, Andy. So I was just going to say to what Sister Kalyani had asked, and even otherwise what you were mentioning about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So he started, of course, with that endearing form of Mother Kali, And then it came to a point where they also found certain times where he would put flowers on himself. So, and then it also extended to a level where he worshipped his own wife, Sharada Ma. He worshipped her also, in which the divine was established. So I think first is to see that divine with filled with so much love on the, like, as an idol on the outside, but then that idol becomes one on the inside, and then it gets reflected again in everybody on the outside. But at the same time, what happens to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is there is a person by name Totapuri who comes to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa at one point in time, and he tries to have Ramakrishna to go beyond the form of Mother Kali, because again it is from the form to the formless. So every time Ramakrishna Paramahamsa closes his eyes, his mind immediately goes to the form. So it becomes, in a sense, I shouldn't say difficult, but it is always attracted to a form. And then it takes, of course, being the soul that he was, within a split second, he could cross that also to go to the formless. But I think at the stage at which I am in, I prefer the form. Then it's very difficult to go beyond formless and then like that kind. So because at the level of primary school, I can hold on to a form. I can hold on to like how a child depends on the mother or the father and things of that kind. Better in that sense to hold on to the form as whichever Navaveda Bhakti we pick, hold on to the form. And Atma Nivedanam that's why the last one, because I think that is the stage when you cross all of those relationships, you can step on to a literally formless aspect. So I think for a sadhaka in the initial stage, definitely the form is needed to concentrate and build on. But when it comes to the level of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or those, I think they are at a level where they have to let go of the form because the form itself has become an attachment, an incessant attachment, which maybe has to dissolve so they don't exist. Because for them, they and the form are so intense that the form keeps existing, so they exist. And that's why they have to let go of the form, so they also don't exist. So it's at a totally different spectrum of devotion, but yeah.
Still we are in the primary class. To reach that stage, it will take many births. I think we are.
Yeah.
That's correct. And by the way, Totapuri belonged to that Brahma Samaj. Brahma Samaj. At that time, I think it was very prevalent in those Calcutta and in the Bengal. So they used to say there is only one Brahman, and you need not go on clinging to these idols. That's what they used to say. But Totapuri, in spite of his advice, Ramakrishna could not come out of his attachment to that Kali. That's Kalyani's question. As long as mind exists, we can go on imagining that form. But as you say, we have to go still further to reach that stage where we can get rid of this, even this form, name and form. Sairam. Yeah. Kalyani, can we go to the next slide? Yeah.
Is it not a fact that the belief in one's being the body, a superstition? Can the body last forever? Is it not a skin doll with 9 apertures in which life is so perilously existent that a sneeze can cause collapse? Again, should we not characterize the life people lead, believing in the reality of this world, as another superstition? Is it not all the self-importance assumed by people who have positions of power and a great quantity of riches another foolish pause? But acts done on the basis of faith in the Atma, the reality within, cannot be dubbed as superstitious or foolish. For every opinion one expresses, if proper reasons are given, all will rejoice. But to declare as superstitious all that one does not like is a sign of frenzy, foolishness, or egoism.
Okay. So now Swami is going to speak about those people who condemn Vigraha Aradhana, that is idol worship. Now, Swami is going to speak about. And now I'll, Sai Satish, please.
Yes, Aunty.
ఇట్టివి మూఢ విశ్వాసములని అనేక మంది భావించుచున్నారు. That is Vigraharadhana.
Yeah, many people think of this as a superstition.
అది సరికాదు.
It is not correct.
మూఢ విశ్వాసము అని చెప్పటం మూర్ఖావేశము.
To call it a superstition is indeed foolishness.
తన దేహాన్ని తాను విశ్వసించుట మూఢ విశ్వాసము కదా.
If one is to believe one's body, that is foolishness, isn't it?
Yeah. అది శాశ్వత కాయమా?
Is it a permanent? Is it of permanent existence? Is it a permanent body?
తుమ్మినంతలో తూలిపోవు 9 తొరల తోలుబొమ్మ కదా.
With just a sneeze, it can collapse. Isn't it a puppet of that nature?
It has got 9 తొరలు. That is 9.
It has 9 holes.
9 folds. ఈ జగత్తును నమ్మి భావించుట మూఢ విశ్వాసము కాదా?
Isn't it superstition to believe this world is real?
ధనమును పదవులను చూచి వీర విగ్గుట మూఢ విశ్వాసము కాదా?
Looking at power and riches to think it is real, isn't it superstitious?
ఆత్మవిశ్వాసముతో చేయు పనులు,
whatever work is done with the firm belief of the Atman,
మూఢ విశ్వాసములు కావు.
that is not superstitious.
ప్రతి విషయమునకు సహేతుకమైన కారణము.
For every action there is proper reasons behind.
కారణము చూపిన అందరూ సంతసించుతరే కానీ
everybody will, if given proper reasons, everybody will rejoice.
Happy. కానీ తనకు నచ్చిన పనియు మూఢ విశ్వాసములని చెప్పుట ఆవేశము. నచ్చని means the one who doesn't like.
Yeah, but to consider something that one doesn't like as superstitious is indeed foolishness.
So it is aveshamu, మూర్ఖత్వము, స్వార్థపు తత్వము. It is avesham means frenzy, crazy. They go crazy. మూర్ఖత్వము, foolishness, and స్వార్థపు తత్వం, selfishness. Just people say, that because they don't like something, they say, oh, this is all superstition. To say that it's wrong, Swami says. ఊపిరి పీల్వక మనం ఎట్లు జీవింపజాలమో.
Auntie, that is next paragraph.
Paragraph. Let's discuss this one. All of us know that this body is 9 apertures, which is.
Yeah, is Swami trying to say everything is superstitious in a way what we are seeing? But saying that once you don't like and say something superstitious is not right. That's the way Swami is like twisting this way of thinking, right? Whatever you are seeing, everything in a way is superstitious.
Aruna,
the same, without understanding, you think like that, it's also a foolishness.
No, Aruna.
Yeah.
Swami is condemning those people who talk like this. Who talk that, they believe that, oh, this body is very powerful. They think body is permanent. Is it not superstition? And can the body last forever? And he says, this body is so, the skin, it is perilously, it is so impermanent it is, that it can, with a sneeze, it can collapse. Just a sneeze is enough for the body to collapse. So when it is so impermanent, the body, they think that body is permanent. Is it not foolishness? He's asking like that.
Yeah. So the body only perceive. That's a mind is there, senses are there. So everything in a way is a Swami saying to see as superstitious. But without knowing, you don't say it is superstitious. That also ignorant. So you have to know in what sense, what state of mind you are seeing it, kind of. So Swami is asking to see everything in the body level is a superstitious kind, right? Is that right? I don't know. Thank you, Sai.
Narmada has her hand up.
No, I was just going to say, well, I don't know. My understanding is that what Swami here is saying that if, like Auntie said, he's responding to those who say that idol worship is superstitious or things like that. It's just don't say things are superstition without knowing the meaning or understanding what it is. It's easy to comment. And also to Auntie's point, Auntie's point, like, yeah, everything is Maya kind of, right? So this body is also superstition in a sense because it's not also permanent. So only permanent is, being one with or the Atma. So that's where he starts off. And I think the answer here is like, don't comment or, say things are superstitious without knowing the meaning. I don't know. That's how I understood.
Yeah. The first sentence in Telugu, Swami says, "Ittivi mooda vishwasavalane aneka mandi bhavichunchunar." Many people think that these are all vigraharadhana, that is idol worship is superstition. So then Swami comes to this point. Is it not your body which is impermanent? You think that it is permanent. Is it not foolishness? It can drop off with a small sneeze. And why do you think that it is permanent? Is it not foolishness to think that the world is real and you have accumulated money, you have accumulated positions, and you think they're all going to be permanent? Is it not foolishness to think like that? That's what Swami is saying. I hope it is clear to all.
That sentence, Atma Vishwasamutto, is it saying whatever is done with the firm belief of Atma, that is not superstitious? Is that right?
Yeah, that's Atma Vishwasamto Chayu Panulu, Mooda Vishwasamulu Kavu. It cannot be superstitious. It cannot be blind beliefs. The one actions which are done with the firm belief that in Atma, those actions cannot be called superstitious.
Auntie, this one, Swami would always say self-confidence. And like one is the self-confidence within, and then the firm belief in God. So in anything that is established with or done with that firm belief in God or Atman, and with that established with that self-confidence, cannot be considered superstitious because it will ultimately yield fruit.
Yeah. Yes.
And looking at it, we know that a person who is born has to die. That is 100%. There is no doubt. But the way we live as if we are going to be here 100%. That there is no way that we are going to go from here, right? Because I do my job and I accumulate and I keep and I work towards it in such a fashion that as if I am going to be here for a very, very long time. So Swami is asking that, isn't that foolishness? Because every time we say bless you to a person when they sneeze, we say bless you because there is a good probability that the person can drop dead, in the sense that the pressure with that kind of, there are people who have dropped their mortal coil based on that kind of a framework. That is why every time a person takes a sneeze, we say bless you, because it's literally like, you need the blessings to move on, and because of the blessing you survived. So if life is that fragile, how come I am going with the feeling that life is permanent. That is foolishness, rather than saying, oh, you're praying to this idol. How will this idol take you to God? It is only made of wood or metal. So Swami is asking, which is foolishness? Isn't it the other one, rather than the idol worship which connects you to the divine? One is trying to tell you that you are impermanent and helping you to connect to the permanent. Obviously, that is any day based on faith, self-confidence, which will lead you to what is permanent, versus believing that the body is permanent when actually it is to fall someday. So clearly, yeah. So Swami would always say Atma Vishwasam and Atma Namakam and
Atma Nirbharata. Atma Nirbharata.
Nirbharata. Okay, Auntie.
Nirbaram. Self-confidence. Atma
Okay.
Nirbharata, Atma Vishwasam. That is two words Swami uses.
So only is not super conscious, superstitious is when you do things with the understanding of your Atma.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, because like when we say about death or something, like immediately we say, don't speak about it, don't speak about those kind of things. That is based on the thing. Of course, there is a reason why elders say that also, but sometimes it is based to a level of superstition. So we'll also have to see what is something that is said based on complete belief in the self versus what is, like we know that story of the cat, right? Like when the Brahmin was doing a puja, there was a cat jumping around, which entered the house and was jumping around. So there was no way to get rid of the cat. So he took the cat and tied it to a pole and he continued his rituals. His son, who was a little fellow, was observing all that. He thought that every time a puja is done, he has to tie a cat to the pole as part of the ritual. So every time puja was done, he went out looking for a cat and got it tied to the pole and did his ritual. So that is what finally comes down, right? In terms of superstition and belief, if we don't inquire and understand the basis of that inquiry is the Atman, and then do with that, it will lead to all kind of superstitious things. And that is where Swami is reiterating on everything being done with absolute faith and self-confidence.
And Sai Satish, if you remember that story, during World War, people were dying of so many contagious diseases, it was, then people, if they sneeze, as you say, bless you. That's how the tradition came, it seems. Is it further, if you know of those things, please?
I don't know, Auntie. Sorry, I don't know that.
I have come across that story.
Okay.
During World War, people were dying because of so many contagious diseases. So people, when they sneeze, they used to say, bless you. That means you have survived this thing and you are going to live for some more time. That's how they blessed people.
On a lighter note,
yeah, please.
I had some discussion with my daughter today. Today's Karwa Chauth, when we fast for our husband's long life.
Yeah.
So I am fasting and my daughter is mom. In the olden days, women used to depend on their husband. That's why they have to think about the long life. You don't need to. You're such an independent woman. And I was like, this is my faith. Do not. And I mean, we had argument this morning about my faith. And she's saying, no, you are a liberal woman. You should not be thinking about this. Is all superstition, mom. You don't need to live. I'm just saying, it's good. I'm going to give her this lecture, this paragraph. I know it's in the context of idol worship, but I think Swami has said, do not laugh at people. That's what I'm going to give her now today. Swami is great, I tell you. He gave me the right answer because I'm like, how am I going to convince that this is my faith? So thank you so much to all of you and to Bhagawan.
Shivani, you're doing it with Atma Vishwasa.
Absolutely, Auntie.
You have faith in this thing and faith in Swami.
Absolutely.
Faith in yourself as well as faith in Swami.
I believe it's my dharma. I believe happy. So I'm doing my dharma as a wife. So I have to do it.
Do it.
So I'll continue fasting for his long life.
You're doing it with a good intention that your husband's longevity.
Absolutely.
That's it's nothing, but it's a good wish. That's all.
Actually, he's also fasting for me.
Yeah, good for you. That's nice of him.
Oh, Sai Ram.
Uncle Dawson has his hand up.
Yes, Sairam, sir. So most of the people that criticize the people who doing the idol worship and people trying to understand about the Atma, but before they criticize this one, they should understand but uh, the body consciousness because of their egoism. They spend a lot of time in maybe in studying worldly thing, and they may get money because they think money is the one everything, but it's not going
அது
to
இருக்க
last.
வெளியில எடுத்து வையுங்க கேளுங்க.
So the money is not going to last forever. Even the body, young age is going to be, you have to go to the other stage too. So the people who are doing that idol worship and trying to understand that Atma, they pass those kind of things. So without experience those kind of information, without studying the reality, you cannot criticize.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah,
Thank you, auntie.
That's correct. So this is all about Swami speaking those critics who do a lot of harm to the society by commenting on them that, you are doing idol worship. No, where is God? It's only a stone. It's only a marble. They say like this, they all sorts of things are said about idol worship. Swami says, no, it's not correct. It is so long as the body consciousness is there, we have to use this body to worship that idol. Then slowly you go beyond that. Sairam.
And just to add to that, I think in Sanatana Dharma, again and again, it is stressed that any kind of relationship can be taken upon with God. And I think when we say relationship, that's where whether we say as a mother or as a friend and so on, it becomes easy with the form, and that's where the idol gains prominence. And going that way, because always it is said, as many seekers, those many paths. So any relationship, any kind of form that helps the person get started, it's the same thing like how we do Jyoti meditation. Also, first we need something to focus on, whether it's even if the closest that we can get to the formless aspect is like the flame. So, but essentially you need to see it before we take it, before we internalize it. So every time it has to have some bit of name and form. So we keep taking that name more and more. And as we fill ourselves with the name more and more, we fill ourselves with the form also more and more. And as we fill ourselves, so from the many distractions, it becomes like focused on one form and name. And then as that grows more and more, it becomes so intense that a person cannot exist without it. And then it comes a stage where that form, from that form, it has to go to formless. So I think it definitely, the idol worship gives a very strong foothold. Yeah.
Sairam, auntie, I'm just thinking that when this Sathya Sai Vahini was maybe the discourse was the made by Swami or written by Professor Kasturi, maybe during this period of time, maybe a lot of maybe the Astiham and Nastiham kind of maybe a lot of critics at the time about maybe the idol worship, maybe uh, maybe so much against for the idol worship. Maybe that's why Swami has brought in all these arguments. You think that idol worship is superstitious or the foolishness. So think about all these are you are more foolish than those ones kind of arguments Swami would have brought in at the time. Maybe I am just thinking that maybe around the time, maybe a lot of critics about the idol worship. I don't know, maybe in 1960s or 70s, Swami has made these discourses. Maybe the compilation could be later. Maybe around that time, a lot of maybe the opposition or the against for the idol worship. Otherwise, I was wondering why Swami, in the very detailed explanation about these, maybe someone knows that when this was written, this by over
I,
Swami's discourses were made.
it is actually, Anandi, it was written by Swami. It's not only discourse. All these books, Vahinis, were written by himself.
Oh,
So,
only the compilation by Professor Kasturi.
It came as an episode in every Sanatana Sarati at that time. All those were collected later on and made into a book. Swami wrote all these things himself. He has written this. So in every Sanatana Sarati, they used to publish a part of it, and they collected it and they made it into a book. So it actually, Sathya Sai Vahini was first named as Paramarthika Vahini, it seems. Swami called it Paramarthika Vahini. And then later on it becomes Sathya Sai Vahini. And for this idol worshippers, Anandi, sister,
Yeah.
even now, you find many people criticize idol worship.
Yeah.
Many people, not only at that time, Swami has written it in very strong language, how putting them down. But even now, you find many people who don't believe in idol worship. Okay, so there is not, and idol worship was the greatest menace for people who invaded India, and they have really temples were just raised around, and idols were taken and then destroyed. So all this destruction used to take place then. So because of the invasions, but generally also we find people who don't agree with idol worship. That's why Swami is not only at that time, even now. That's what I feel. Sai Ram.
Sairam, Brother Sai Satish and then Uncle Datsun have their hands up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just wanted to add to what Auntie was saying. I think initially it was called Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini, and then that same thing Swami changed it as Sathya Sai Vahini. So Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini, it is in that context where Swami is telling about how repeatedly Sanatana Dharma people had come and challenged the school of thinking behind Sanatana Dharma, but because it is based on the absolute, repeated attempts to attack or deface it, it stood the test of time over thousands and thousands of years. And all of that is again based on even this part of the idol worship is not only what has been happening eternally across the ages and so on, but it has also been in light of so many invasions that happened. And later on, the modernization of education, right? When the modernization happens, again, it is like anyone would ask, why are you praying to a photo? Does it have life? Kind of a thing. It is always made to like belittle it. So I think in the context of Swami's writing of the Vahini, it was to show how this Sanatana Dharma, since it's based on the bedrock of the Atman, it is unshakable. And even if people come repeatedly, and that's why Swami is telling all of this, much of this, Anandi sister, when Auntie was telling about Brahma Samaj and all of that earlier, a lot of it happened in that 18th and 19th century, not only when it came to the 1960s, much of it happened earlier as well. But Swami is telling in the context of how this is time and again people have come and challenged this fundamental thinking, but it has always stood the test of time. And with the modernization, all the more these kind of questions will come. But it is based on the Atman, it is based on self-confidence. So it is actually the absolute.
Okay. Also, one little question. What is Paramartha in the Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini? What is Paramartha, the translation or the meaning?
Auntie, I'll attempt and then you can tell
Please go
Auntie what.
ahead.
So,
Please go ahead.
Parama Artha. Artha is meaning, Parama is the highest. It is the highest or the noblest. So, what is the ultimate meaning of the Bharatiya Sanskrit? It is to connect you with the absolute. So, in that framework, sister. But Auntie, I'll leave it to you. Yeah.
Param is supreme. Param means supreme. Parama Artha. That we have to reach that supreme goal. That's the meaning Swami is trying to tell us here.
Or the destination to reach the ultimate goal. So it makes sense, the
Paramartha.
Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini. Thank you so much. Okay.
So Sairam sister, Sairam auntie. So the best example I can give the Hiranyakasipu and Prabaladan. So Hiranyakasipu had the ego and started to criticize the Lord is not everywhere, and he criticized all the praying, all the forms and everything. So eventually, the Prabaladan taught the lessons to understand the value of the Atma, Lord is everywhere, and the statue and everything. Thank you.
Sairam. Any other question you want to discuss?
Should we do another slide, Auntie?
If everybody agrees, we can go to the next slide.
We will find it impossible to love God or adore Him unless we meditate on some form. This is as essential as breathing or sheer living. That is a necessary stage in the process of living. One has to accept it as such. Childhood is the father of old age. Can old age condemn childhood or teenage as evil? To experience the divine principle, idol worship is and has been a great help to many. How then can the aspirant and the practitioner of spiritual disciplines condemn idol worship after passing through that stage and deriving benefits from it? That would indeed be very wrong and inappropriate.
Yeah. I'll try to read Telugu. Sai Satish.
Yes, sir.
ఊపిరి పీల్వక మనం ఎట్లు జీవింపజాలమో అటులనే.
Without taking a breath, how we cannot live in the similar manner.
దైవాన్ని ప్రేమింపజాలము.
Is it impossible to love God, Auntie? Is that?
Yeah, that's what he says. ప్రేమ జాలము. ఊపిరి పీల్వక మనం ఎట్లు జీవింపజాలమో అటులనే దైవాన్ని. We are not adoring Lord in that manner. That breath is so essential for us. So that essential.
It is to love God. To love God is as essential as it is to as breath is to life.
జీవితములో అది ఒక ఆవశ్యక దశ అని అంగీకరించవలెను.
In life, that is also an important direction. That is the way we have to accept it.
Important stage, dasha.
Okay,
dasha ani అంగీకరించి we have to accept that.
Yeah.
Okay. వార్ధక్యమునకు బాల్యము జనక ప్రాయమైనది. వార్ధక్యం is old age.
Yeah, so that's what they put it as childhood is the father of old age. And
he has written, actually it means బాల్యము, the childhood is the basis for the
old age. Yeah.
బాల్యము పాతకమని కానీ యవ్వనము పాతకమని కానీ to condemn that childhood, to say that యవ్వనం is youth is also bad. వృద్ధాప్యమును పలుకనగున Can you say it during old age, saying that my childhood was bad, my youth was bad? You cannot say that. You have to pass through this and then come to the వృద్ధాప్యం. తన దివ్యత్వమును అనుభూతం మొనర్చుకొనుటకు
To experience the divine self,
విగ్రహారాధము తోడ్పడును.
it is idol worship is essential, auntie.
Helpful. తోడ్పడును.
Helpful. Okay.
హెల్ప్ఫుల్. ఆ సాధకుడు విగ్రహారాధన దశను తాను దాటి
the sadhaka who practices idol worship,
he has crossed.
he has crossed the stage of idol worship.
దాటిన పిదప సారీ, పిదప మీన్స్ ఆఫ్టర్వర్డ్స్, దాని ఆక్షేపించుట కూడాను అనుచితమే.
I'm sorry, auntie, I don't know.
Okay, parallel. The one who sadhaka is an aspirant or a seeker, after crossing that stage of vigraharadhana, and he goes on commenting on that. He goes on saying that, oh, the vigraharadhana is bad, but he has gone through it.
Oh, okay.
He has gone through it, and to condemn like that, to criticize like that is wrong. Swami says, anuchitamo, inappropriate. భారతీయ పరమార్థ రంగమున this also is భారతీయ పరమార్థ రంగమున పురోగమించున్నది అసత్యము నుండి సత్యమును కాదు.
Auntie, I don't know if it has gone to the next paragraph.
Next one. Yeah.
Have you gone this to the next stage?
Yeah.
Yes, I have gone. Sorry.
Yes. No problem.
Yeah. No, unless we have a form, we cannot concentrate. We cannot meditate on. That's what the first sentence is. We find it impossible to love God or adore Him unless we meditate on some form. So form is necessary. And this is as essential as breathing. So that's what Swami said. And it's a stage also, as you grow old, it's a stage by stage. That vruddhapyam will come only after childhood and youth. So this is a stage which we have to pass through.
So is the first sentence saying, without taking a breath, how we cannot live in the same manner? It is not possible to love God without a form? Something like that?
Yeah. ఊపిరి పీల్వక మనం ఎట్లు జీవంప జాలమో అటులనే దైవాన్ని ప్రేమించ జాలం. How we
I think I think the idol worship is important for you to start your devotion. So it's like is this essential like that? But I can understand. It's like a big, how you cannot do anything without like a breathing kind of like, it's essential like that for the devotion, for the starting. I think idol worship is essential kind of only. I am saying that because people who have passed idol worship, they have derived the benefit, and later they come and condemn idol worship is not right, but they pass that stage to realize that they have moved on to the level of where they don't need an idol worship. But those people shouldn't condemn that idol worship is not good kind of, because they derive the benefit to climb beyond idol worship. That's what my understanding from this.
Kalyani's question was, ఊపిరి పీల్వక, without taking a breath. In Telugu, Swami is saying, without taking a breath, you cannot live, even for a moment. So also, దైవాన్ని ప్రేమింప జాలము. We are not adoring God in that way. So how breath is essential for us, so also the adoring or worshipping the Lord is so essential. That's what it means. Kalyani, is it okay?
So it's just talking about in general how worshiping God is as essential as taking
a breath. That's it. To reach the vruddhapyam, that is old age, you have to pass through childhood and youth. So also to reach that space, that place where you don't need a idol for you to meditate upon. So, but these are the stages by which one reaches that vruddhapyam, that's old age. So we cannot condemn that. Oh, this is my childhood was bad, my youth was bad. No, you cannot do that. That's what Swami is saying.
And I think in that aspect, one important point which also comes is even as we go through idol worship, which helps it to connect with the form. I think that's where Swami says at one point it has to go to a formless stage, which helps us understand that going to the formless stage is also like that old age stage, because I think we become matured in our approach to Lord, where we know that particular form that we have and we are intensely in love with that form. We also it has to go through a stage of that becoming formless, in the sense we see that form in every other form, so it is not confined to that form alone, and it becomes formless because that form is manifest in every other form, which becomes, I think, the old age of having the true ripened devotion of that fruit that Swami was telling earlier. So I think it helps in understanding how we grow from that
childhood to
form to formless. Yeah.
Sairam, Uncle Dasanhan?
Yeah, Sairam sister. So if we take our spiritual thing, that Nitkun and Satkun, so Nitkun is formless, Satkun is with the form, those path is important, but if you want to go to Nitkun, you have to go for Satkun. The form, first you have to follow the form, then only you can go to the Nitkun. So just for living, how the breathing is important, same way to realize ourselves that form and that without form, both are very, very important. Thank you.
Finally, Swami is saying that to experience divine principle, idol worship has been and is still, it's a great help to many. So he strongly
Auntie, in the first line also, Swami is saying we will find impossible to love God or adore Him unless meditate on some form.
Yeah.
So this is essential as a breathing for sharing of living. So the idol worship is important kind of, it's impossible kind of. How we cannot live without breathing. It's the same thing without some form. We cannot adore Him or meditate on Him. That's what I'm thinking on the first two lines.
Sairam, you're correct.
Sairam and Auntie, I have a little maybe the thought or maybe clarification on this part. To experience the divine principle, idol worship is and has been a great help to many.
Yeah.
Why Swami Swami put it this way? Rather than saying it is mandatory to many, why Swami put it's a great help for some people? Maybe if they have, maybe their soul is very evolved, they may not, or they don't need any idol worship. That's why Swami put this way the sentence: to experience the divine principle, idol worship is and has been
a great
help to many. There may be some people, maybe they would have been in the exceptional category too. Yeah.
Many people take this idol worship as a means to experience the divine principle. And
maybe a small fragment of the human beings, they would have passed these stages and would have gone directly to the meditation stage or something. The Swami telling that maybe old age we shouldn't be to criticize the childhood or teenage. I can understand that maybe the idol worship or little more maybe the silent sitting or meditation, and then came to the it's like a full tapas stage or something. But here I was wondering myself, Yadi, why Swami put it's a great help. I know that, Yadi, but even maybe one fragment of the human being would have been under a different category. Maybe they don't need this idol worship. They would have gone directly to that very, the old age stage. That's why Swami put that. It has been a great help to many. Maybe I don't know whether my thought process is correct, or maybe I am missing something here.
Auntie, you are muted.
What I understand, Sairam, Anandi, what I understand from this sentence is many people have taken the help of this idol worship to reach that stage. And some may not need, some people may not need this idol worship. They are exceptional people who can meditate upon the Lord without even taking any name or form. There may be some people also. So it applies to only to many people who have taken this help, and others are also there who don't need this idol worship. That's what I understand. Sai Satish, can you further explain?
Yes, Auntie. Auntie, that line, if you can just read once, Auntie, just to be clear, what is Swami exactly saying?
Yeah.
Tana Divya Tattvamunu.
Edama? Which one?
Tana Divya Tattvamunu.
Tana Divya Tattvamunu Anubhuta Munarchukunutaku Vigraharadhanamu Todpadunu. Tana Divyatvamunu. To realize one's own
Inner self.
Divinity. Anubhuta Munarchukunutaku. That is to experience it. Vigraharadhanamu Todpadunu. It can help. It doesn't say that many here.
Many, exactly.
It doesn't say.
So, Sister Anandi, just to clarify, Swami doesn't say, Swami just says it has been of great help. He doesn't say to many.
Sai said this. That's also, I'm thinking, the first line also, Swami wouldn't have said many, because he said, we will find it impossible to love or adore him without the some form. So that's mean we need one.
Swami, you cannot say like that. You cannot say that everybody does need that.
But in the first line, Swami saying is find it impossible to love.
That's unless we meditate. That's a different stage.
And just to add, I think when Auntie translated it, like Auntie was saying in English, it came as we must adore, not on some form. Auntie, it's not there as on some form and specific there, right? In that Telugu.
I read it again. Upiri pilvaka manamu etlu jeevimpa jalamo atulane daivanni premimpa jalamo. That's how that it is giving a little without taking a breath, how we cannot live. In the same way, Daivanni premimpa jalamu.
Yeah, like that we need a.
We cannot live without loving God, right?
Yeah, that's better, I think.
Meditate on some form. That's the thing. Okay, maybe.
Aruna, what Sathya Sai Satish is saying, just we will listen to him what he is going to tell us.
Okay.
Okay. Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Yes, Andy, I was just saying that, like what you're saying, like how to live without taking a breath is impossible, likewise to live without loving God is impossible. That's what it's equating to.
That's correct.
So I think that part on, like, we meditate on some form is an addition, and likewise in the other line what Sister Anandi had mentioned, too many is an addition. It's more of an
Okay.
interpretation of the translator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here in Telugu, Swami doesn't say any form or anything, that he just says, ఊపిరి పీల్వక మనం ఎట్లు జీవింపజాలము అటులనే దైవాన్ని ప్రేమించజాలము. That's all there.
Okay. So both part has to come out. Then it makes sense.
Some form is not given
Yeah,
in
some form has to come out and the many has to come out. Then it makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
It is not here in Telugu.
Yeah.
Swami's.
Uncle
Okay,
Dawson.
Okay, thank you so much,
Saira.
Sai Sadis and Mani Aunty.
So the idol worship is important. The reason is the concentration. We have a form. So if you want to concentrate, we have to believe one kind of form. So that's what we are keeping as a human. God has so many form and he's not formless. He's formless. But in order to concentrate, we are created a idol and we are focusing on that one. Even Swami many times said one form, one name, in order to control your mind. Once you pass that level, then you don't need the form.
Yes.
So definitely we need that idol. Then after that, you don't need that idol once you pass that level. Thank you, Saira.
The first sentence, Saira, for the first sentence, what Swami in Telugu is saying that just like how we cannot live without taking a breath, so we cannot live without loving the God. That's what he is saying. Okay, I think it's 4:31. Can we close? Sairam?
Yes, Auntie.
Samasta Loka. Can you say that, Satish?
Yes. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti